Hey, I'm back.
Yeah.
Say, what's with all the sardines in the front?
Oh, those are for that cat friend of yours.
Oh, that fork? I guess she'll clean it up eventually, which, by the way, where is she?
Don't know. Last time we saw her, she went out for a little run.
Hopefully she'll be back sooner or later. That stuff is going to stink up the hallway. I wasn't able to find you an ultimate manga figure, but I did find some good doujin scenes starring her.
Okay, that'll do. They don't involve any elements from the latest movie, do they?
Don't worry, dude. You're the only dark god this universe needs.
Damn straight. Though before anything else, we should finish up that review.
I'm glad to see that you're into it, but, why the sudden interest?
We need something to get our minds off of all that other work.
What other work?
It's nothing big.
Well, okay, I'll leave it to you. Let me know if you need anything.
So, last time we talked about Akuno Hana's horrible animation. So let's move on to something else. Aside from the animation that we took apart, even though there wasn't a lot to take apart of, we should probably talk about the story. I mean, after all, as bad as we think, animation is very subjective. You can either hate it or love it. Though, some things that's hard to ignore about this show is the actual narrative and how it's poorly executed. Let us just summarize the first episode for you. Boy goes to school. Boy's a bit socially awkward. Boy enjoys work of a French poet. Boy pretentiously quotes poems. Boy has a crush on girl. Boy contemplates about stealing girls' gym clothes. The end. Oh, and more walking than any of the Lord of the Rings movie. Yeah, this is a perfect example on how not to do a first episode. The first chapter of the manga ended on a better note than that. It ended with Nakamura blackmailing him, saying she saw him steal the gym clothes, which is a major plot point of the whole story.
What a twist!
You see, as stupid as this whole conflict is, at least it was able to establish itself. Yet something this essential to the plot was not in the first anime episode, but rather in the next episode. Also, our little episode summary only took about 20 pages of the first chapter, which when translating into an anime should only take about a half an episode. And guess what? The first manga chapter still had another 20 pages left. An anime that is unable to adapt the first manga chapter in one episode is inexcusable. The first chapter of the average Shonen Jump manga is about 50 pages, and yet they have been able to adapt the first chapter of all of their mangas in one episode, since at least Dragon Ball. And yet, the director felt they had to add in crucial scenes that weren't in the original manga, like Kazuka reading quotes from the books this show derives its title from, even though it is a real book that viewers could track down and read on their own. You know, shows like Psychopaths would reference a ton of different books and authors, but they would seldomly quote stuff because they wanted viewers to draw their own parallels. And even when they did quote stuff, they certainly did not stop a scene so that it could be read to us like we were school children sitting down for story time. Oh, but we forgot. There are even more important scenes than that, like showing boys taking a piss. Because yeah, that's what we travel many light years to see. A group of stone-faced spirals taking a piss. Wait, come to think of it, did they actually record that stuff from the bathroom? Ew. There is just so much needless padding in this first episode. And yes, we've read arguments that says that slow pace and boring scenes are meant to reflect your everyday suburbia. Well, fine, but let us just ask you this question. How is this entertaining? The first episode of any show should always leave a strong impression, to get us hooked, and not bore us to sleep by reading stories to us. The funny thing is that we've actually rewatched this episode at double speed, and while it helped make it more watchable, we still had to skip past the walking sequence.
Walking, 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 walking.
Now, as much as we find your species to be inferior, we won't put all the blame to the animators for this travesty. No, they were going into this territory that they clearly had little to no experience in. No, instead, we'll take our complaints straight to the director, who clearly did not understand what the hell he was doing. Then again, maybe the director honestly thought he had something new and incredible by going out with all rotoscoping? Ha! Yeah, right. Here's some quotes from the interview with the director, Nagahama. I knew there was going to be criticism before it aired, because I picked a way to do this anime that people will be critical about. People were saying it looks crappy, but I think it's better to feel something than nothing at all. I didn't want to create something that didn't leave an impact. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The words of a director whose main focus was not on creating something that was actually entertaining, but rather thought simple shock value. You know, we're not even going to get upset. Because if we did that, that would just mean Nagahama wins. If it can't appeal to a wide audience, then why even bother producing it? Also, there are signs that the production ran itself into a lot of roadblocks because of Nagahama's poor choices. We honestly believe they went over budget with this anime because of the live action filming they had to do. After all, when you have walking sequences that are as long as the elevator scenes from Evangelion, then chances are your wallets are running dry. In more interviews with Nagahama, it apparently took him twice as long to animate this show as it did with any other show. So chances are they were behind schedule, which further explained the walking sequence they had to use in order to fill up time. It might also explain why most of the final episode was an overextended previews of what they were trying to push for a second season. Our guess is that it was actually stuff from the episode they were supposed to air that season, but were unable to produce it in time. Even Ralph Bakshi's Foley rotoscope movies look better and were paced better than this anime. Because you know what? He had the competence to plan out their animation and live action filming schedule out properly. And really, does this anime honestly think it can tease us with a second season like Fate Zero or even Psycho-Pass did? The Blu-ray sales certainly did not support that notion. And face it, the only reason this show got as much attention as it did was because of its advent approach towards animation. However, that should not be the only reason why a show should stand out. It should also have a well-paced and told story. But because of the time and money they wasted on rotoscoping, they had to leave the story incomplete. As much as we want to support animes that will send your race into the pits of despair, this is not the way we want to do it. This anime was nothing more than one man's poor attempt at forcing his artistic views on both the viewers and even his own staff, who despite their efforts won't receive much compensation based off the Blu-ray sales alone. It's a shameful production that would be better off forgotten. We are the Anti-Spirals, and the time for your despair is not today.
Good job, man. So, did you figure anything out?
No. Rather than producing the passion you spoke of, the anime actually drained us of our energy like a black hole.
I bet you see a lot of those at the edge of the galaxy.
1 or 2 every day.
Still, that was a nice speech at the end, Antiman.
Don't get the wrong idea. We have our agenda to follow, and it doesn't involve promoting the scraps of even your race's sorry attempt at animation. Also, who are you calling Antiman?
Yeah, saying anti-spiral all the time gets a little bit tiring, so I figured I'd shorten it a little bit.
Nicknames like that are best used for someone of your own race who has an actual identity. We are the collective minds of the anti-spirals.
Oh, really? Because from what I've seen, you seem like an anti-spiral who actually wants an identity. After all, why would your great collective mind send some random guy to check up on a member of an inferior race, as you put it?
We've already explained. We accidentally lost one of our collective minds while patrolling your planet.
Was it really by accident? Or did one of your guys go a little AWOL because he wanted to find his own individuality?
Believe what you want, but realize we are fully capable of forming our own opinion. An absolute opinion that we all share. The concept of individuality does not exist among us.
Let me ask you this. Was that little speech of yours really the words of the anti-spiral? forcing your views onto others. It's bad. Isn't that the ultimate goal of the anti-spirals?
Are you calling us hypocrites?
No. I'm actually proud that one of you guys were able to break free of your little hive mind and create your own opinion. That's what makes a great reviewer.
Whatever. We have grown tired of this discussion. We shall take our leave now.
Before you go, why don't you have the last of my beans, Antiman?
You're really going to harp on that name again, aren't you?
Okay, then I guess I can call you something like, oh, Annie.
No!
Then...
If you must insist, you may refer to us as Antiman.
Okay, Antiman. That's a good nickname for you.
It's not a nickname. It is a means to finally end this conversation.
Sure it is. Here.
Is this more of those rotten beans again?
I even cracked the raw egg on top. It's good.
Yeah, you can keep that.
Oh no, I'm full. Don't worry about me.
Ugh. Needs more soy sauce. And 2, we have a certain commitment we must fulfill.
What kind of commitment do you guys have?
Don't you have a few suns that you need to ignite?
Yeah.